The COVID-19 pandemic disrupted lives in ways that were deeply tied to our brain's neuroplasticity, the ability of neural circuits to adapt, strengthen, or weaken based on experience. Many people, forced into isolation, lost jobs, faced unexpected divorces, or missed opportunities that would have unfolded differently under normal circumstances. But why did this happen from a neurological and psychiatric perspective? Prolonged stress and social isolation triggered changes in brain chemistry, weakening neural pathways associated with motivation, emotional stability, and resilience. The brain, when under chronic stress, shifts into survival mode, amplifying fear responses and reducing cognitive flexibility. This is why some struggled to find new opportunities, fell into depression, or lost confidence in making important life decisions. The absence of social reinforcement, the small moments of interaction that regulate mood and motivation, further deepened these struggles. However, the pandemic was not entirely negative for everyone. Some individuals, instead of succumbing to stress, experienced a surge in creativity and adaptability. Why? In moments of crisis, the brain can also rewire in ways that unlock new perspectives. With fewer societal expectations and rigid routines, some found freedom to start businesses, launch academies, or pursue long-held passions. This divergence in experience, where some crumbled while others thrived, shows the powerful role of neuroplasticity in shaping personal outcomes. But the story isn't over yet. Many still struggle with motivation, emotional burnout, and uncertainty. The solution? A targeted approach using neuroscience and psychiatry to rebuild lost neural connections. Reintroducing structured social interactions can help reverse the damage caused by isolation, while cognitive behavioral strategies can retrain the brain to focus on opportunity rather than loss. Physical activity, meditation, and skill-building exercises stimulate neural growth factors like BDNF, helping restore cognitive function and emotional balance. Understanding how our brains adapted and misadapted during the pandemic is crucial for moving forward. The key to long-term success lies in actively shaping our neuroplasticity, finding ways to regain confidence, and ensuring that the next chapter of our lives is written with intention, resilience, and scientific insight. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form and reorganize synaptic connections, was significantly disrupted by the pandemic. Prolonged stress, social isolation, and uncertainty weakened neural pathways linked to emotional resilience, motivation, and cognitive flexibility. The absence of stimulating experiences led to a reduction in synaptic density in key brain areas such as the prefrontal cortex and hippocampus, impairing decision-making and adaptive behaviors. Studies on individuals in lockdown revealed a measurable decline in cognitive performance, particularly in working memory and problem-solving abilities due to reduced exposure to novel experiences. It is like a muscle that atrophies when not used. Without stimulation, neural circuits weaken, making cognitive recovery more challenging. Chronic stress caused by uncertainty, job loss, and health fears led to a sustained release of cortisol, which negatively impacted brain function. High cortisol levels shrink the hippocampus, reducing memory formation, while hyperactivating the amygdala, leading to heightened fear and anxiety. This shift towards survival-based thinking reduced cognitive flexibility and made it harder for individuals to plan for the future. Individuals who experienced prolonged financial instability during the pandemic showed increased risk for anxiety disorders, with persistent worry impairing their ability to make rational decisions. The brain under chronic stress is like an overheated engine. Forced to operate in a high-element state, it eventually becomes less efficient and prone to malfunction. Human brains are wired for social interaction, and isolation disrupts the normal reinforcement mechanisms that regulate mood and motivation. Without regular social engagement, dopamine production declines, leading to decreased motivation and an increased risk of depression. Mirror neuron networks responsible for empathy and social bonding also become underactive, making social reintegration more difficult after prolonged isolation. Brain imaging studies of isolated individuals show decreased activity in the ventral striatum, a region linked to reward processing, leading to a lack of pleasure in activities once found enjoyable. Social interaction is like sunlight for the brain. Without it, essential neural pathways for happiness and motivation start to wither. While many individuals suffered from cognitive decline, others exhibited an increase in adaptability and creative problem solving. This variation is due to differences in stress response, baseline neuroplasticity, and individual coping strategies. When stress is interpreted as a challenge rather than a threat, the brain engages the prefrontal cortex, strengthening executive function and resilience. Some individuals use the pandemic as an opportunity to start new businesses, pursue creative projects, or enhance skills, taking advantage of reduced external pressures. Just as extreme pressure can crush some materials while refining others into diamonds, the pandemic acted as a stress test that revealed individual differences in adaptability. Motivation relies on a delicate balance of dopamine and goal-oriented behavior, both of which were disrupted by pandemic stress. Reduced exposure to novel stimuli led to a decline in neurochemical rewards, making tasks feel less meaningful. To rebuild motivation, it is necessary to reintroduce structured goal-setting, dopamine-releasing activities, and reward-based reinforcement. Cognitive behavioral interventions that focus on small, achievable goals have been shown to gradually restore motivation and executive function after periods of inactivity. Motivation is like a fire. It must be fed with small, consistent sparks of achievement to reignite and sustain itself. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT techniques, can help retrain the brain to shift focus from loss to opportunity. Strategies such as cognitive reframing, habit restructuring, and exposure therapy reinforce adaptive neural pathways. Regular mental challenges, such as learning a new skill or engaging in deep conversations, activate dormant neural circuits and improve cognitive flexibility. Individuals practicing gratitude exercises and cognitive restructuring post-pandemic reported faster recovery from emotional distress and higher levels of optimism. Cognitive training is like software debugging. By identifying and correcting faulty thought patterns, it restores optimal function. Exercise stimulates the release of brain degenerative factor, BDNF, a protein essential for neuronal growth and repair. Aerobic activity increases hippocampal volume, improves mood by balancing neurotransmitters, and enhances cognitive clarity. Even moderate movement, such as daily walks, can counteract the neurodegenerative effects of prolonged inactivity. During the pandemic, research shows that individuals who resumed regular physical exercise after lockdowns exhibited improved emotional resilience and cognitive performance compared to those who remained sedentary. Exercise is like fertilizer for the brain, nourishing neurons, strengthening connections, and fostering mental growth. Restoring social connections is crucial for reversing pandemic-induced neurological changes. Engaging in group activities, meaningful conversations, and shared experiences stimulates oxytocin production, reinforcing trust and emotional stability. Gradual re-exposure to social environments helps recalibrate the brain's reward system, making interactions feel more rewarding over time. Individuals who actively participated in social reintegration efforts such as community events or therapy groups reported lower stress levels and greater life satisfaction. Rebuilding social networks is like restarting a dormant engine. Slow at first, but essential for full functionality. The pandemic has provided valuable insights into the impact of prolonged stress on neuroplasticity and mental health. Future research is focused on developing targeted interventions, including personalized cognitive training, neurostimulation therapies, and pharmacological support for stress-induced neurological damage. Understanding how the brain adapts to crisis conditions can inform strategies for resilience building and mental health optimization. Emerging therapies such as transcranial magnetic stimulation, TMS, and psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy are being explored as potential treatments for pandemic cognitive impairments. Understanding neuroplasticity post-pandemic is like deciphering a new survival manual, offering tools to not only recover, but emerge stronger than before.